Ugh, poop, saliva. All we're missing is puke.
And what does Dr. Churchill have to say about that?
Parenting can be adequately summarized as a battle. Feces, saliva, and vomit versus blood, sweat, and tears.
So you just saw a clip from the present, and sitting next to me today is the producer of that film, Kyle Thornton. Very excited to have him here to talk a little bit about the Oscars, of course, some of his work, but mostly about our Oscars and our favorite movies of the year.
You said we were talking about I thought we were dressing up.
No.
Oscars implies dressing up to me.
I didn't get them out. This is what I would wear to the Oscars, so.
I believe that.
And should I just introduce myself then? Because
you've been on other episodes.
Right, but
You're Andy Richter to his Conan. Is that the lie we're going for?
I am here though.
Yeah.
I am here.
And Jennifer's here.
Can I introduce you?
Would you give me a proper introduction, please? Because I'm
Actress.
going to get one for him.
Oh, okay. Actress, producer, and frequent co-host of this program, Jennifer Brenneman. You should be clapping at home.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we got Jennifer here. So anyway, you obviously are fairly well known in the local scene, but tell me a little bit about how you got started, the different roles that you play on set, things like that.
Oh, yeah. I also do this like you do, interviewing people, and I always ask them, what are you first? Because people, like your lovely co-host, are multi-hyphenates. I would rather be a writer first, or an actor or a director next, but I am a producer first. Usually to get things made, I have to be the one to go out and work a DJ show as a wedding DJ. That gives me some of the funds to pay for food on set and anything else that we need, rentals, that sort of thing. Usually we're trying to make money on, making these. We started doing live shows this year. I don't know. What do you have to play, Alex?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was good. Keep it brief because we got to talk about a lot of movies. So, definitely check out Kyle's work. It's great.
Well, he's never said that to me in person, but on camera, it's nice to hear you say it.
Yeah.
You've never said that to him before?
He acknowledges its quality, but I always assumed that we were not to one another's taste, which is why I was excited to be brought here for the Oscars, because I'm wondering, what of the 10 movies nominated for Oscars are to your taste, Alex Susko?
None, but we'll get to that in a second.
You haven't even seen all of them.
I've seen enough movies to know what the ones I haven't seen are. Except for Nickel Boys. That could have been good.
I've seen enough books to know which covers I don't like.
Right. So anyway, I guess we're getting into it. So
do you have more? I don't want to screw up your show.
No, I mean, unless you have anything more to say about yourself.
Movie Baiters with the Farks Brothers, Apple Podcast and Spotify. Baiters spelled Baters. I'm one of the Farks Brothers.
Yeah.
Yes, and Alex and I were on your show a couple times.
You have
It
been.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah, to talk about a movie that won't be mentioned today because it's not good enough.
All the
Smile too? Sorry, but Jennifer?
Oh, you're just hating on a movie that was really good. And Nicole Kidman should have been nominated for Best Actress. I just want to say.
Which Best Actress nominee would you take out and replace with Nicole Kidman, Jennifer? I know you have a cheat sheet, so who is nominated for Best Actress? And Alex will react with his face as to each actress.
I think that Mikey needs to hit the road because Anora was like the worst movie ever.
I didn't even see the movie, and I know that's wrong.
Okay, I run a bait show, or obviously stands for debate. Why do you not care for her performance in Anora? I'm sorry to ask the question, Alex.
I didn't like. Well, first of all, I didn't like the movie.
Okay.
I didn't like her character. I couldn't stand the character. So from beginning to end, I just couldn't stand her. And it's really hard to watch a film when the character has absolutely no emotional depth at all. I mean, she was just, even her facial expressions, there was just like nothing there. And she was just foul-mouthed and just, I just didn't.
I mean, you can have good performances in unlikable roles.
Exactly, but not this one. But that's just me.
I disagree.
You didn't see the movie? You have no opinion.
I think Anora, no, her performance was the best thing about that movie because I know Sean Baker and I know his movies and I know his shtick. And
what is his shtick?
It's this.
Sean Baker's shtick.
It's this. So he basically has took mumblecore and made put this artsy polish on it. But the thing about mumblecore is that it's not supposed to be polished. It's not really supposed to be artsy. So he kind of undercut exactly what mumblecore was supposed to be. And in doing so, I don't know, it makes his movies appear more profound, but they really aren't.
Aren't you a mumblecore filmmaker?
I am.
Okay.
And so this is why I don't like his movies, and I'm passionate about not liking his movies.
So why are you arguing with me?
Well, no, I'm not arguing. I'm just saying that you can give a good performance in an unlikable role, and, and won top prize at Cannes and got a lot of praise, particularly here. So I just assume she does a good job.
I really liked Anora. I thought it was a little long. I'm a big fan of Mikey because I watched Better Things, the Pamela Adlon show that was on FX for 5 years. And it was hard for me. Yes, the father of daughters going, no, but she's a grown-up little girl that is, involved in sex work. And it seemed like she was okay with it to a large degree, except for her troubles in the movie. I enjoyed her performance. I'm not sure I disagree with you, though, that it lacks emotional depth, because I think you have to stay shallow when you're having shallow relationships with people.
Well, and then, okay, I don't want to spoil the ending. I'm not going to say anything about the ending, except that everybody talks about how the ending is so amazing. It is the only time in the film where there is any kind of emotional depth, and it was so late. It was too little too late that I was just like, I didn't care.
Oh, are you talking about the and I'll speak obliquely. Are you talking about when they travel or after they've traveled?
No, the very end of the
film. Oh, so the
very end where there is finally tears. It's like, really?
Yeah,
you do have emotion? I don't even care anymore. But
okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about, and that was an impactful scene. I'm sure they wanted us to feel things, and I was moved. So I don't know if I was moved in the way Sean Baker intended me to be, but I'm glad that movie's getting attention. And I like that you have a strong opinion about it that I disagree with.
It's okay, Kyle. I still like you.
No. I think it's good for movies to have multiple, views on them. Some people like it and some people don't. If you just liked every movie that was the best that nominated this year, that wouldn't be any fun.
Right.
Alex, which one did you see?
I saw the Brutalist.
Oh?
I thought that was above average, not some masterpiece.
Okay.
Because, all right, so here's my problem with the Brutalist, all right? It was too self-important. It was sort of like it was telling you that it was a good movie, as opposed to me looking at it and judging that for themselves. I don't want to be told that your movie is good. I can see it and tell you that. But it was this behemoth of a movie, this sort of historically based epic, a la Reds, if you ever saw that. And I don't know, it insisted on itself, and Adrian Brody kind of carried.
Jennifer saw it too?
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, it was 3.5 hours. There was even an intermission, and it didn't feel long to me. In fact, I wanted it to be longer. I felt that the last part of the film went too quickly.
It is objectively 5 minutes shorter.
What's that?
The second half is 5 minutes shorter than the first half.
Oh, okay.
It's one's 100 minutes, the other one's 95. Why do I know that off the top of my head? Because I saw it earlier and I thought it was great. We're just gonna blow by Alex quoting Family Guy there, though. it feels like it insists on itself. Like I'm doing.
No, but it actually does.
How did the movie tell you that it was big and important? Someone was just standing outside, Brady Cobain, like, hey, this is important. Does he like it?
No, it's about the feeling of it. Like you feel the presence of a director, but it's not in like an admirable way, the way like you feel Robert Eggers' presence in Nosferatu. It's like condescending, arrogant sort of feeling.
How does each one of them state their presence in their respective films? I hate saying films, just for the record.
Well, it's I mean they have it's more of a sensory experience, you know? Like you're aware of the creative choices. Like something like Wicked is
Did you
just
see Wicked?
Which is another film he hasn't seen.
Okay, right.
So he should have no opinion on it.
okay. Well, we'll take any La La Land. You know, it's like you have these movies that are shot in a way where you feel like anybody could have really directed, any competent director could have really directed it. I didn't watch La La Land and think, oh, that's a Damien Chazelle movie.
He won an Oscar for that one.
I know. I disagree with him winning the Oscar for it. You know, like with those movies, they could have been directed by anybody, or you get that feeling. With this, you didn't necessarily get that. Like, you know that this is Brady Corbet's movie.
What I think Jennifer could have responded to in that movie is that it is then assumed that what Brady Corbet is telling us is that it's like the process of making a movie, the immigrant experience, all of the hardships and trials. I've heard this comparison made. So maybe Jennifer, as a filmmaker, has a lot to relate to as someone who strives to make big, important movies. And, you know, you're going to be a remake of a Lon Chaney movie, so... Right?
I just didn't see that at all with that film. And I just honestly don't even know where you're coming from with that.
Oh, you liked Wicked and Emilia Perez, so.
You liked Emilia Perez?
I loved it. What? You didn't?
Oh, I loved every minute of watching it. I'm just not sure I'm allowed to say anything about Emilia Perez. I think I put the emphasis on the first syllable because it has the accent mark. My wife said that was correct, and she speaks Spanish for a living.
I think it's Perez.
Okay. I'll call it...
I'm pretty sure it's Perez. I've had a few friends with that last name, but... Cool. No, I thought that was fantastic.
We're gonna save that because I think it's one of the worst movies of all time. So we'll save that for.
Were you bored?
Later. Huh?
Were you bored? I just want to know if you were bored. We can keep talking about your like niche criticisms of.
Bored, I guess, isn't the word I would use. I don't know what the word I would use is, but we'll get to that a little bit later. We'll run through the other ones that I haven't seen.
What about Felicity Jones in The Brutalist? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I thought she did good. I mean, I think Adrian Brody should win the Oscar for Best Actor.
Over Timmy? Turbo Timmy?
No, because biopics, I don't like people winning Oscars for biopics. You know, because you already have like the real life human that provides the depth. So it's not the actor necessarily bringing the depth. They just sort of have to be the physical portrait of the person. But because all the emotional and psychological depth is provided from you from the true story.
I agree that I think Adrian Brody should win. I think he will win. But what about Ralph Fiennes? I mean, he was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, he does a good job. I think Adrian Brody, probably if he won over Adrian Brody, I wouldn't say it was like a snub of Adrian Brody. Yeah, you know, he does a good job. But like if Timothée Chalamet won, that'd be different. But it was also spoiled before I saw it, so I knew the end twist or whatever before I saw it. So it was like,
which twist? Who would win, or what? The thing about who wins?
The thing about who wins.
That would be distracting to watch the movie knowing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was sort of like, okay, well, I know that what this is all, the reveal this is building up to, and so everything kind of felt less important or exciting than it otherwise would have, probably. I don't know.
The reason I think Adrian will get it over Mr. Voldemort is because his performance in Conclave is in a tighter space because of who he is as a cardinal for the Catholic Church, doing something important at the Vatican. He can't be big and emotional like a heroin addict who designs brutalist architecture.
Architecture, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if he won, I wouldn't be, I wouldn't be like, oh, Adrian Brody got snubbed. Right? Ralph Fiennes does a good job in it. I'm cool with him. But if Timothy Chalamet won, I'd be like, okay, this is stupid.
He'd be the youngest winner since Adrian Brody for The Pianist.
Pianist. What a performance that was as well. God.
Adrian Brody has survived the Holocaust twice.
Yes, he has.
He has, yeah. Pianist was a better movie, though. It just had more emotional impact for me. Like there's an incredible amount of nuance in that scene, where the Nazi guy or the German soldier could shoot him, but he's like so overcome by the aesthetic experience of hearing him play the piano that he doesn't. There's just so much nuance there. There's not a scene like that in The Brutalist.
What about the scene where Guy Pearce and Adrian Brody become very close?
Yeah, that wasn't impactful. That was just like, we need to make this guy badder than he is, so we'll have him do this.
There was a lot of texture towards what that he was going in that direction. How he talked, based his interests, how much he was into his mother, which is totally fine. I love my mother more than my father.
You said that?
I say that's my father. Yeah, to screw with him. Yeah, just like with my kids, I pick a favorite and I let them know it's dynamic. And the Oscars should be dynamic. It should be an award you give away. And then whichever movie actually has the most impact over time beats the movies that may have won in the time. No, you don't want to go with that. Because what was the best picture winner 3 years ago?
No Man Land?
Yeah. Was that the most impactful movie from 2020?
No. I mean, the Oscars rarely pick the best movie of that year.
You liked it, Jennifer?
I did like it a lot, yeah. But I mean, films are, like with all art, are subjective, right? I mean, it's a personal preference. No, it really is. Because all of these 10 films, well, they're not all, okay, they're not, okay, I'm going to say they're not all great. I disagree.
Which one isn't great?
Anora and
Oh, yeah.
Substance.
Oh, yeah, you guys.
This will believe that's nominated. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm appalled by that. But I'm just saying, each film is so completely different. How do you say, The Brutalist is a better film than Wicked? They're completely different films. I mean, how do you put them against each other, right? I mean, it would make more sense to me if it was okay, this is the best drama, or this is the best musical comedy, or this is the best. I mean, 10 best films, and there's 10 now, by the way. It's really?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's got to be some measure of what will. I mean, some movies will stand the test of time, some will not. There's got to be some sort of objective measure as to what will stand the test of time and what won't. Like something like Wicked would not stand the test of time.
You haven't seen it, so I am not.
Yeah, and I already forgot that it existed. So it's not going to stand the test of time if I forgot the year it was made that it existed.
That's an elitist opinion because more people are going to have access to the movie than they are the production of the musical, even though it's one of the highest grossing musicals of all time because it's grossed $5 billion as just a stage musical.
Yeah, I mean, you can enjoy Wicked, right? You can enjoy watching Wicked, but it's not going to be some classic of cinema that stands the test of time.
It will be.
No, it won't. Nothing starring Ariana Grande is going to be remembered past a year.
Wow.
Pete Davidson tell you so that?
No, I just think she's massively annoying. So I listened to the soundtrack of Wicked, right? The soundtrack of the movie, and it was just objectively worse. Like from a music theory perspective, it was worse. Yeah. So like the one song, Defying Gravity, right? So that one, there's, I'm not gonna sing it right now. The part that's like the build up at the end, that thing. So in the Broadway show, it does it right from a music theory perspective. In the movie, and again, I haven't seen the movie, so maybe that's the footage complements the song in a way that it makes sense. But just listening to it from a music theory perspective, they muddle it with a bunch of filler in there to where it doesn't grow exponentially in the way that it should from the music theory perspective.
Because it
to
accompany a visual image, and one of the things you miss by not seeing the movie is how it makes itself unique from the stage production, because they're able to have a character see a younger version of themselves. I'm sure you could march out a younger version of Elphaba on stage, but it wouldn't have the same impact as two people looking across each other while they're falling through the air.
Okay, but I was speaking strictly from a music theory perspective.
It's music that is intended to be viewed with something. So the part you found potentially boring, I think there's something going on there from my recollection of having seen the movie a couple months ago that keeps its interest going. My 4-year-old liked it, so
like I said, I'm open to the idea that it's good. I have a hard time believing that listening to the soundtrack or from a music theory perspective, it's way inferior. And a movie starring Ariana Grande is some masterpiece. I just don't buy it.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with you because I think Ariana Grande is very similar to Kristen Chenoweth's performance. I think very, very similar. I think she did an amazing job trying to, be as similar to that character as she could.
Oh, is that good? Because we just talked about how the movie was going to separate itself from the Broadway theater. So if she's trying to replicate Kristen Chenoweth's performance to a T, isn't that make it worse?
I don't find that.
Well, I think Cynthia Erivo is I think different vocally than Adina Menzel. But I think they're both equally talented, yet different. But I think they're both equally good.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Cynthia Erivo's fantastic singer.
And she has a different.
Love her voice.
Yeah, I mean she's a freaking Broadway actress. I mean she's great. She could do anything. So I don't know. You should see the movie. In fact, I've seen it twice. I'm probably going to go again because another friend of mine wants to see it who hasn't seen it. And Alex, if you want to go, I'll go with you too.
I don't.
Let's do Wicked. Let's all go to Wicked. I'll see it 4 times. And then you can have a true opinion.
No, because I saw the trailer, and there's a bunch of CGI, and I'm sure it's like extravagant visuals that were made on a computer.
A lot of people say that John Cho's lighting direction is a little too dark, which leads it to be more maybe realistic, and maybe he wanted it to be dour because of the time that's taking place in. But so I'm not sure that CGI is the best criticism on a movie you've seen 3 minutes of. Because there's also talking animals, so like you run CGI for talking animals. And have you seen that Lion King? They're pretty good at
saying they could have done CGI for they could have done CGI in something like Nosferatu, but they went with practical makeup, and it was way more effective
based on a real historic figure that existed, whereas animals don't talk and interact with humans and witches and stuff.
But I'm not even talking about the animals. I'm talking like the backgrounds. It's probably was all shot on a green screen, you know?
That's one of the most elaborate sets for that movie.
No, they didn't.
Have you still? Well, if you'd seen the specifically,
Seen the movie. You know what? Let's come back and do another show after we've seen the movie, and then we'll talk about Wicked again.
No.
I'll paint our faces green though.
We should.
Yeah, we'll paint our faces green.
And we'll come back.
I believe that was real, not
That's her
CG.
face green. Yeah. She actually can't fly either, so they did have to use digital imagery to erase the wires and stuff. But she was up on wires. I saw that, and I saw
In front of a green screen.
yes, because they have to hang the crane somewhere and then make it seem like she's moving.
Yeah, like you know, if you like the movie, you like the movie. I'm open to the idea that the movie is fine. I'm just saying it's not some like great masterpiece. It's like it's entertaining. It's like this year's Barbie, you know, like a big blockbuster. You know, it's this year's Barbie.
Which you also hadn't seen. So there we go.
But
Let's move on.
I've seen it since, and my opinion remains.
Alex has seen
I did want to just quick tie up your thing, Jennifer. How do you say that Wicked is
my thing.
the point you made. I'd like to tie your point up very
I have my
specifically.
point.
Yes, on how could you judge Wicked versus The Brutalist? I think you said The Brutalist is maybe going to make 50 million worldwide, whereas Wicked's made over 700. So for me, I'm a populist in terms of the movie business. I want movies to be made for the right price and make a lot of money, and so they keep making more movies, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, Wicked is just a cash grab because it's based off an already existing product, whereas The Brutalist I don't think is based off anything.
Yeah, it's not based on a real person. It's an amalgamation of a couple of different architects. But they did.
But it's not based off a book either. Or
it's I have to, based on objective fact, argue with you on it being a cash grab, because they could have made this movie as far back as the 90s. Demi Moore, nominee for The Substance, was attached to a version of it at one point, and it's been in development for 20 years, and they took their time to get to a version that everyone could be happy with, and clearly it's been successful critically and financially.
yeah, and I'm sure it'll win that new category that the Oscars have, box office achievement.
That's not, they got rid of it. They announced that last year, and they got rid of it immediately.
What?
They only have that at the Golden Globes now.
Oh,
Welcome to, what's the show called?
filMNetwork.
filMNetwork.
I mean, did it win the Golden Globe for best box office achievement?
I believe it did, actually, yes.
Yeah, so that's what it was made for. It was made to make a bunch of money, and that's it. All right, so moving on to something that sort of ties into that. Dune Part II, I would say, is a really well done mainstream movie. It's not an artistic movie.
Oh my God, I finally agree with you on something. Amazing.
I feel like a marriage counselor, but you guys are not married. They're both about the rise of fascism, Wicked and Dune, obviously. I think the way that Denny moved around in impractical ways to shoot with the sun is why his DP is nominated for cinematography. And
It's a beautiful movie. I mean,
you were just complaining about the visuals of Wicked, a movie you have a sampling of. But isn't the point of movies to make good-looking movies?
yeah,
In part?
yeah.
Okay. But it's not in artistic...
I think Dune Part II is a very good movie.
But you what was the thing you guys agree on? Because I'm not sure I understand and co-sign on it's a blockbuster, not a... maybe, Jennifer, you could articulate it.
So I enjoyed it more than Dune 1. But when the film ended, it wasn't like when I saw Lord of the Rings, say, right? Lord of the Rings, just wow. Just you leave and you just feel all of this emotion. And it's just such an incredible, not only visually and the acting, but just the story and everything. I mean, I didn't feel that with Dune. I felt, this was a really well-made movie. I enjoyed it, and visually it was stunning and all of that. But
So we're saying that Lord of the Rings, or let me see if I'm understanding you correctly. Lord of the Rings is a more successful, artistic, Oscar-worthy movie because of the feeling it gave you, and that's different than the feeling one comes out of Dune with.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you agree that Lord of the Rings is about the triumph of good over evil?
Yes. Yes, they have those similarities. Absolutely.
Oh, I don't think Dune is about the triumph of good over evil. It's about the rise of a fascist. Yeah, Timmy's a bad guy in that movie. Timmy winning at the end means that he's been, it doesn't work out well in the books that follow this. Yeah, I was left with a terrible feeling the whole time, like, man, humanity is always screwed, and even 10,000 years in the future will be screwed because people will cling for a strong man and then raise up a fascist leader like Timmy's character in Dune. Like, that's not a triumph at the end of the movie. That's bad that he won. I mean, it wouldn't have been good if the other guys won.
But I'm saying it's good versus evil, like that same thing, but it doesn't have the same feeling because of what you just mentioned.
It's the triumph of evil over another evil. And
The lesser be equal?
one fascist group over another fascist group, I think would be the, because you've got Timmy, who's like been designed by the Bene Gesserits over millennia to become this leader and take power, and then he's finally successful. So I guess it's successful. You're watching a protagonist succeed, but I think Frank Herbert, the director, or excuse me, the author of the original book series, would say, no, this is about how, like, inevitably people move towards strong men, and that's sad. And history has a way of showing this over time. Do you have a different opinion on Dune? Have you read the books?
No, I agree with you, but I also think that that's separate from the differentiation I was originally making.
I assumed you would say that, and I agree that it's different.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we had this conversation, Jennifer, because I didn't want you walking around out there, oh, Timmy's a good guy. He's a Donald Trump. I mean, he's somebody who assumes power. And
you know what though? I didn't read the book, so I don't know the rest of the story.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm trying to think if there was what the like specific signs in the movie are that he's like not a good guy. I guess the talk he has with the people he's leading that he is not actually a part of, that he kind of like when he stands up and yells at them and like takes control, and he's being pushed to like, no, go in and be the strong man instead of building a coalition of people,
right.
As he does more so in the first movie when he's more of a neophyte.
Well, and then he gives up the woman he loves. I mean, that right there is
sad.
Just something.
I think you're being too reductionist. I don't think it's as simple as good versus evil in Dune.
I don't think it's good versus evil. I think it's evil versus evil. It's different.
I don't think it's that simple either.
Okay.
I think there are nuances to evil to where the term doesn't. I think that term implies a certain degree of severity in action and mindset of a person that Paul Atreides does not fall under. I think if you aspire to do moral good, whether the end result is something morally good, that is inherently different than if you aspire to do something morally bad.
What is the morally good thing that Paul Atreides aspires to do?
I mean, he is inspiring his own sort of civilization or populace of people to be able to stand for themselves and support themselves as their own coalition.
But he's doing that by assuming leadership over them as a dictator.
I don't think everybody wants to be a leader. Like we live in a world of leaders and followers, and most people are followers, and a lot of people don't even want to be leaders. They're content with being followers, and so they're like look at somebody like Donald Trump has this super big fan base, right, of people who see him as the leader of that coalition. They really have no interest in being leaders themselves. They're content with being a follower of him.
I compared Trump and Paul Atreides, so I don't actually agree with that.
I don't think Paul would appreciate that, but
Well, there's
Paul is much worse than Donald Trump, but based on his body count, as you'll find out.
well, we haven't counted, the next 4 years, so let's see.
We're recording this in 2025.
5
Yeah, sorry, I time traveled.
February 2025.
Got it.
But yeah, I know. I mean, not everybody is a leader or wants to be a leader. In fact, I say most people don't.
I think that's
be a leader.
objectively true, is that if everyone wanted to be a leader, that would be everyone, pulling a different direction, so that wouldn't be productive at all.
Right. Yeah. So, not everybody wants to be a leader. And I think that if you're a leader aspiring for good, or you're a leader that, well, I shouldn't say perceives himself as good, because arguably you could perceive something bad as good, but it's somebody who's aspiring to do good by the people who follow him, then, you can't be as reductionist as good versus evil or evil versus evil. There's more nuances to it than that.
Okay. So why isn't this a good enough movie to be considered a piece of art beyond just its blockbuster status?
Because my definition of art is something made in pursuit of a deeper understanding of the human condition, right? So something made for entertainment inherently is less artistic as something made with the intent on exploring deeper elements of the human experience, which Dune. I mean, I don't know about the book because I haven't read the book and the source novel. Maybe it goes a little deeper into the psychologies. But in the film anyway, they're dialed way back. The psychologies and the nuances of the psychologies are dialed way back for the sake of audience accessibility. And I would say that the Lord of the Rings trilogy is the same way. Like, that there maybe are a couple of nuances and things, but you really are never confused or conflicted about who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, where their motivations lie, whether it's positive motivation, negative, or good motivation, evil motivation. Like, you're never really confused about any of that. And so it's rendered very simplistic in terms of morality for the sake of audience consumption.
I think you're missing the deeper meaning. How do you feel about the French?
I don't like them.
Okay, fair. I get where that would come from. I call them freedom fries sometimes, because Denny and Corley, who directed The Substance, both uniquely directed movies in the past year where they tried to take out a lot of the dialogue, or like specifically in Dune, he didn't even want to have any dialogue. He just wants you to feel a lot of it. And I think that if one is coming in with the perception that this is a big blockbuster, that is all one to leave with. But because of the lack of characters stating things, one could graft onto them a lot of other thought, shall we say, and see, oh, I see how this movie is about the rise of fascism, and that scares me, and like it's going to be decided by big militaries crashing against each other, and then you've got The Substance, where it's a 130-page script with less than 30 pages of dialogue, and again, people graft onto it a lot of different things. I know you guys came out of it going, I don't like that Substance. It seems kind of silly.
I liked The Substance up until the third act. Yeah, I mean, I liked this. I mean, I was cool with the first 2/3 of The Substance. I thought was really good. I was cool with it up until the third act when it went off the rails. But I thought Demi Moore was fantastic. And
so I'm now in the position of defending the ending of The Substance. If I want to stand up for The Substance, the ending I think is reflection back at the audience of like why Demi Moore's character makes the decision she makes. That is horrific in how it, has that effect on her for the first 2/3 of the movie. But then they're showing us the effect it has in her world by creating this third thing that I won't say, since, this is coming out before the movie is on disc, I think. I mean, I think you can buy the disc now or whenever this comes out, but it's been on movie for
Just boil it. The ending's trash.
They just throw it in your face so much. It's like this is how this is, and they just grind it in. It's like, seriously, like a little bit of subtlety is okay.
So the directness of the first part of the movie, like the guy eating the prawns and the long shot or the long scene where she puts on and takes off the makeup. I mean, that's pretty direct on one level, but I took away from it a subtextual level that I think helped me develop more empathy for women.
Really?
Yeah, because I think it sucks to be judged on your appearance, and that this TV
Men are judged on their appearance too.
Yeah, but differently. Like, I can put on a suit and like the suit does a lot more of the work than, I feel like women have to go through.
Well, no, I think like if an attractive man approaches a woman in a bar and an ugly man approaches a woman in a bar, the attractive man would be received very differently than the ugly man, even if they used the exact same line of dialogue.
Sure, but there's also the subjective of what is attractive to the person they're approaching. Well, not me.
Well, that's subjective for women too.
Sure. There is, if you go to Scottsdale, Arizona, you don't see a lot of young men with older women, but you see a lot of younger women with older men. I'll put it that way.
Well, that's mostly for monetary reasons.
Okay, so men can subvert the beauty standard through money.
Yeah.
Women do that as easily?
No, because men don't care about how much money a woman makes.
I mean, I want women to be able to earn an income that is appropriate for them. I'm glad there's female directors this year who got into the Academy. Or wait, just one, because Coralie and who are the other 4 directing nominees?
Just one woman. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for The Substance. And you don't like her movie.
I do not. I don't care if she's a woman. I don't care what the hell she is.
Yeah. Pretty sure she's a woman.
Yeah, but that's not countering my point. My point is that dudes generally don't care about it. I mean, I don't care about money. I would date a McDonald's employee as soon as I would date a CEO. It really makes no difference to me.
So it's different for men and women.
Yes.
Okay. So I see it takes me movies to build empathy with women because I haven't experienced life as them. So now I'm going in through somebody's mind and experiencing, I would, go back to my 25-year-old self and that would be cool. But,
Well, I'm glad you have empathy, Kyle.
Thanks. I think it's more of like the changing your body stuff because you're right. Lots of people can go through body dysmorphia, and I've argued the opposite point where the movie is relatable to men and women. It's more about like your younger self writing checks, your older self has the cash. So yes, it could apply to men too. And I was coming in with that like, oh yeah, there's stuff that I can, do now that I couldn't do when I was younger, and there's stuff I can't do anymore that I could do when I was younger.
Well, yeah, and that's another thing that I didn't really like about it is like it tries to be this movie about body dysmorphia, but then like objectifies its own actress's body. So like I have never seen as many ass shots of a woman as there are of Margaret Qualley in The Substance. Like the Demi Moore too, but in particular Margaret Qualley. I mean, they're objectified by the camera.
That was intentional from the director. The director told the DP, but then you see like the male gaze from the 90s.
Okay, but then you're subverting your own point.
No, because then she's objectively, not objectively, but did you find the monster at the end to be attractive?
No.
Yeah,
particularly.
Yeah, and so it's trying to show us that gaze is disgusting, and it's showing us something disgusting so that you understand the negative effects of this like prurient gaze that society has for people. We'll go with that.
But you see why doing the thing that you're saying is disgusting is counter to the effect you're trying to have.
You know,
Because I could go back and watch the movie and just watch the first 2/3 before that monster thing comes out and then shut it off. And I'll be like, oh, nice. Bunch of shots of Margaret Qualley's behind.
yeah, I did have a conversation on my show about this with like, hey, a woman asked the other two male people on the show, did you find any of this like alluring? No. Like, because of the context, I was just turned off the whole movie, but I thought like I could see my younger self, like if I was much younger,
My
age. No, even younger than you. Like when I was, let's say, an elder teen, going like, yeah, there's parts of this movie, yeah, you know. But as a, you know, older man, not older, never let the old man in, Clint Eastwood, I was disgusted most of the time, engaged, building empathy, but not allured by any of the butt shots as you've talked. That's why I recommend it to my dad, not my mom, because I don't think my mom could make it through, and my dad didn't like the end either, but my wife did.
I don't know many people that like the end of that film. I really don't.
Lori Rivers, she thought it wasn't, you know, it made a point. Have you talked with your dear friend Lori Rivers about this?
I haven't talked to her about it. No, I
All
haven't.
right, so you know, there's a show there, Alex. I'm just saying.
Sure, we can have Lori Rivers on as a guest. Yeah.
Just to talk about the substance.
All right, so let's talk about Complete Unknown. Personally, I think it's inferior to the movie where Cate Blanchett plays Bob Dylan. Personally,
Have you seen both movies?
I've seen the one where Cate Blanchett plays Bob Dylan.
Okay.
So you haven't even seen.
No, it's your basic
You
biopic.
haven't seen Timothée Chalamet's performance, and you have an opinion on it.
Yeah, because I know what it is. They put a biopic every year. What was it? The biopic that they put in, like they put in some stupid biopic last year, like they do every year. They put up some stupid biopic that the actor gets nominated for.
Was Blanky last year? No, it wasn't last year. The Judy Garland movie.
That was a couple years.
Renee got her second Oscar for that one. Zellweger.
Are you guys cold?
Were you talking about Rami Malek's performance?
Oh, that too. Yeah, that too. Not
Rhapsody, you didn't like that?
not a good movie.
Well, yeah, the editing's bad.
A lot of things are bad. He touched kids.
Rami Malek.
The director touched kids.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't even that good of a movie. It's like your standard biop. If you like Queen's music, you probably like the movie because it has a bunch of Queen's music. Same with this. If you like Bob Dylan's music, you're probably like, oh, I'm enjoying this movie.
You know, I'm not a huge fan of Bob Dylan's music. I like some of his songs, but I thought it was very well done.
No, I think you are.
Chalamet, what?
I think you are a fan.
You think I'm a fan of Bob Dylan's music? Why do you think that?
Because you liked the movie.
I like the movie because I think it was, you know, a really interesting portrayal of Bob Dylan in that time, you know, when he was just kind of making it and stuff. I enjoyed it, but I don't think it's the best film of the year by any means.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I think his performance was great. I don't think it was the best performance, you know, compared to the others. But it was enjoyable, and the music was great. I mean, he played guitar and he sang, and
Yeah, I'm a fan of Bob Dylan.
he did a really good job. I think all the characters in the film were good. What do you think, Kyle? Did you?
I've been stuck on him saying biopic for a while, and I say I've started saying biopic. Yeah, I think the classic way to say it was biopic, and people are moving towards biopic because biographical picture makes more sense to them than biopic.
So you don't care about the film; you're just stuck on a word.
Proves my point. It's just not an impressionable film.
No,
with
you've
no impact.
seen it, right? So you don't know.
Well, I know. I've seen enough movies to know what it is.
No, 'cause
I just watched Inside Llewyn Davis last night.
that's a great movie. I like that movie. And also,
Fantastic movie. Way better than any biopic.
you can say biopic. I don't care. It's just a fun debate to have. It's biopic or biopic.
Just
I just have a genuine issue with you having an opinion on something that you haven't seen. I don't know.
well,
I don't, it's just like with experiences in life. I don't think you should have an opinion on it if you haven't experienced it. I really don't.
that's a conversation for a different day.
I haven't experienced murder. I am against it. Just want to get that on.
No, I'm not saying for or against. I'm just saying you cannot genuinely understand it if you haven't experienced it or been a part of it. If you haven't seen the actual film, how can you have an opinion on it?
Because I've seen enough films to know what it is, and I know the Oscars.
What is it?
It's your just conventional biopic.
What's specifically a conventional choice that was made about a complete unknown?
Because it's same director as Walk the Line.
Correct.
Which I also loved.
James Mangold.
Fine movie, fine. I would put it in the exact same category I'm putting this in. Just your standard Oscar bait biopic.
See, I did.
It's. No, I mean, I'm sure it's fine. Like, I'm a fan of Bob Dylan's music. I'd probably like the music in it. I just, it's a cliche. Unless you're making something like The Wolf of Wall Street is something different, then biopics just shouldn't be made.
Jordan Belfort is your biopic.
No, I think the movie is.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street's a great movie.
Yeah.
Here's where I think you're off, Alex, is that it does make some choices that are unique to itself, letting full songs play so that it can contextually tell you something within the story, that it chooses a very specific time in his life and not his whole life. It's not a Wikipedia biopic where you see from what is it, the cradle to grave. It's not one of those, which I think like Ray and Walk the Line were more like, which you can't do anymore because of Walk Hard. I watched Walk Hard right before I watched The Complete Unknown just to like remind myself what I don't like about these movies. And it didn't.
Well, what do you mean by these movies?
Conventional Wikipedia cradle to grave.
It's not what I just said.
Yeah, but you're wrong about this movie
Yeah.
because you didn't see it, so you don't understand that it covers a very specific time and has a story about whether or not you have a certain onus to a group that helps you reach success.
It was done better in the Kate Blanchett one.
I've met a lot of people who are passionate about Bob Dylan that do not feel that way. I'm not passionate about Bob Dylan's music personally. I've enjoyed some of it throughout my youth when I was younger than him, when he was making that type of music, because he's younger than you in this movie. The character Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
So he's going through his 20, 25 age, and it's an interesting time in a young person's life, and to become very famous at that time is unique.
And the love story is interesting as well.
I hated the love story. I'm sorry.
I
I really hated the because I feel like it lionizes being a bad boyfriend, and he's a terrible boyfriend to both of the women that are interested in him. No, you think he was good? Oh, okay.
No.
You wouldn't want to be treated that way, right?
No, but I'm saying that added a little something to the story. Just I didn't know about his relationship with Joan Baez, so I found that really interesting. I wasn't aware of that, and so
Dang it! Now you got me on. So something that Alex he didn't see it, so he can't criticize it this way. And I'll give an example of something I saw so that I could criticize it. Which is not this. I didn't like. So I like the choice to play full songs and try to like make that part of the narrative thrust of the movie. What I didn't like is that cheapened some of his songs just be, I'm cheating on you and you know it because you're listening to me now. And that kind of annoyed me. Like, oh, this song is now just how Elle Fanning figures out that he's cheating on her with Monica Barbaro. That's what I was thinking when I was watching it. Now, am I saying that?
Wow, I wasn't thinking that at all.
Well, that
It wasn't.
again, this is good to have multiple views on movies. That's why movie debates are important. Everyone brings hopefully somewhat legitimate views based on having seen the movie to the table.
Well, I've tend to notice that a lot of the same cases I've been making for the movies I haven't seen have been made by one of you two.
No, you made the point that it was going to be very stereotypical to a Wikipedia type.
What? Because it plays full songs? I mean, what?
No, it's not because he plays full songs. It's because of the specific story about he wants to join a group and then his onus to that group becomes
Okay, here's my question to you. Was Inside Llewyn Davis a more impactful movie than Complete Unknown?
For me, yes, because
For everybody, yes.
No, Bob Dylan's had a lot of influence on a lot of people's lives, and a lot of people either feel nostalgic or recognize something of themselves in him. When I watch Inside Llewyn Davis, which I know you just did recently because you mentioned it, I think about, oh my God, I hope I'm not missing my opportunities like Llewyn Davis did.
Well, I just think that it's inherently more complex and sort of thus better, more artistic to take an original character and construct an original character with the same psychologies and nuances of a person, then take somebody who actually existed and then put their life events on the screen, because it happened, and I mean, presumably the stuff that happens in this film is true, right?
Well, I believe in Ecclesiastes, so there's nothing new under the sun, even if it's based on...
That's not what I asked. Is this film true or is it not?
Which movie? Both of
We don't know.
There's emotional truths in both, and there's made up things in both movies, but there's also true things that really happened to someone inside Llewyn Davis, that it wasn't this made up character, it was this person or that person.
Okay, but so what you said about the love story between Joan something or other
By us.
and Bob Dylan, did that happen in real life?
Yeah.
Right. So you're taking something that already exists, a relationship that already exists, and a trajectory that has already happened, versus making your own trajectory for a character and making your own relationships and an original relationship. Like don't you think that it's better, more skillful and artistic to make something original and then just take something that already existed?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, you're wrong.
So when you watch the Olympics, you know how they do dives sometimes?
Yeah.
In the Olympics, and like some dives are like, this is a 2.6 and this is a 1.7. It's probably harder to take something people are familiar with and show it to them in a new and interesting way, especially when there are stakeholders in the people who the story is based on can say that's not how it happened. And in the case of A Complete Unknown, it's been pointed out that Bob Dylan had a chance to read the script because he had to sign off on it and give his music at a certain price point so they could get the movie made. And writing something from yourself, as James Mangold and his co-writer did, I'm sorry, his name is escaping me. Jennifer's got a sheet, but I won't pressure her to look it up for me. Having to write something that then you hand to Bob Dylan, this guy who's had so much impact on your life, as James Mangold claims him to have had, and say, will you sign off on this? You don't think that's very complicated? And
No.
Why don't you think that? Have you ever had to do that? Have you ever had to convince somebody to let you tell their story?
You're just talking about the corporate sort of behind the scenes.
No, there's an artist, because you have to go to another artist and say, can I tell an artistic story about your life? Sorry, Jennifer.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, the creative aspect of that in itself is huge.
Why?
I mean, how is that easy?
How is that
How is it
creative?
easy to do?
It's extremely easy. If you told me your life story, I could go cast Lori Roovers in a biopic about you and make it as good as A Complete Unknown.
Would Lori color her hair, or would she wear a wig, Jennifer?
I think she would color her.
Oh,
I do.
Wow, that's dedication. She'd probably get nominated for an Oscar for that biopic.
Is that the next feature you're doing? Is that
Nope.
no?
Because I'm not interested in making a cliche biopic off a character that already exists.
shave your head.
So anyway, okay, we talked enough about that.
How about which one?
Complete unknown.
It's complete unknown to you.
It is completely
No, it's not. I've seen.
You watched the trailer.
No, I have seen the Kate Blanchett one, and I've seen the Scorsese documentary,
That's a good one.
and the documentary is all I need to know about Bob Dylan.
Did you see?
Oh, good.
No, John.
No, you bet.
Did you see Turbo Timmy Chalamet on SNL doing?
No,
Oh, you didn't?
I don't watch SNL. Hasn't been good since the early 2000s.
Sorry. I would encourage you to go watch those two performances. Actually, go click over to those on YouTube right now. I know you're watching this on YouTube. Go click over to those.
Why would you do that?
Back to this.
No, support indie film. I need these views so I can monetize my channel.
So I was just going to say, why don't we talk about a film that Alex has actually seen?
Well, I mean, we have. We talked about The Brutalist, the Dune Part II, Conclave, Substance. So, I mean, the two that are left that I haven't seen are I'm Still Here and Nickel Boys, which I'm sure are probably the two best that are nominated.
The Brazilian movie about rise of fascism is it in the 90s when I'm Not Here takes place.
What?
I'm Not Here is about the rise of fascism in Brazil.
Here?
I'm Still Here. Sorry, I keep getting you confused with that Bob Dylan movie. I'm Not Here, what the one was called. Yeah. I'm Still Here. And it's very confusing to have that come out the same year as the Bob Dylan movie. That's specifically, I think, about the living under a fascist dictatorship in Brazil. I think it's the 90s, but don't quote me on that.
I'm sure it's very good.
We all need to see that one because it's not showing anywhere, so we can't see it.
No, it's the one movie you can't see yet because it's only on 17 screens in the United States as of this taping, I believe.
All right, so it's nobody saw it, but it's probably the best movie that was nominated for Best Picture.
The critics have seen it because you could have gotten a screener. I'm sure Nick Palatichuk has seen it.
All right, well, he's not you, so.
He's not.
So Nickel Boys, did anybody see that?
So those are the 2 out of the 10 that I have not seen yet.
Nickel Boys?
But
Sounded really good.
you have seen that, so what did you think?
I watched it because I knew I was coming on this show. I think it brings all of these movies bring into question, and a theme of our entire conversation is, what is the point of awarding art, making art into a competition? I saw Nickel Boys because I knew I was coming on the show. I would have probably seen it eventually because I have a movie theater subscription and it's nominated for Best Picture. So that would encourage me to see it. I don't like the concept of homework movies, and I would never want to disparage this movie as a homework movie. It is a book report movie because it's based on a Pulitzer Prize winning book by Colson Whitehead. And what I thought the movie did specifically well is putting you in the first person perspective and then not explaining the tag back and forth between two different characters of a similar demographic and a historic situation. Going back and forth made me feel a lot more of it than I have if it were from the way movies are typically shot.
Sure. Yeah, I can't disagree. Looked like a good film.
What about it looked good to you when you watched the trailer?
I didn't watch the trailer. I just saw the critics' reviews and I read the plot, and it sounded like it could have been a very interesting, intense movie.
What's the plot?
It's about like this guy or whatever who gets put into like a segregationist school or something like that.
It's a juvenile delinquent center.
Okay, juvenile delinquent center, and racism and things like that come along with that.
What year does this?
It starts in the early 60s and he gets out in 67 because they call it in the movie. There's also a time jump in the movie that was helpful but takes away some of the tension. That is how the book is, though. I haven't read it. I read the summary to know, did they do this in the book? And they do jump back and forth in time in the book. The movie does something interesting where for the future parts, it puts it in third person perspective. So the camera is behind the character, like you're seeing their shoulders and head, because you're wondering, is this X or Y? one of the characters' name, the main character's name is Elwood, which I remember because that's one of the Blues Brothers.
So where would you place that on your best of the year? Top 10?
It's a movie I'll recognize.
Deserve Best Picture nom?
I'm not an arbiter of that. I hope to one day join the Academy and get to adjudicate those things.
You're on the Academy. Would you nominate it for Best Picture?
I think what they do is they rank everything. I'm not sure I would rank this of 10 movies in my top 5 or 6 of these 10.
Yeah.
He has them listed behind us. That's how we... No, I don't get to look at a list.
But you're not supposed to say that.
Oh, sorry.
All right. So thanks for offering your opinion on that.
On Nickel Boys?
Yeah.
What was my opinion? Was it positive or negative?
It seemed generally lukewarm.
I don't have any specific praise other than I thought the filmmaking that they brought to an already well-lauded book was exciting, and it's a new filmmaker, which is great. Would I have seen it absent it being nominated for an award? No. Now, maybe that's to my detriment.
No, fair enough. Yeah, whatever. I can't argue with anything.
Which one did you see because it's lauded? I'll stop pointing.
Brutalist, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely saw The Brutalist because it got Golden Globe nominations and it got the second most Oscar nominations. So I was like, gotta see that, and called up some of my buddies and we went and watched it, and yeah, generally had a good time. The AI controversy around it's kind of silly, I think.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I don't know. AI is conversation for a different day. But all right, so
already in the Matrix.
So we got one movie left of the ones nominated for Best Picture.
Saving this for last.
So I guess if you guys want to go first on this, Emilia Perez, do you have any thoughts? Either of you?
I loved Emilia Perez. When the film first started, I was like, what is this, right? Because it's not your typical musical at all. Like, the songs aren't great. When I first started watching, I hadn't read about the film, so I didn't know much about it at all. It was just, up for these awards, and so I wanted to see it. And when it first started, I was like, whoa, okay, this is a musical, because I didn't even, realize that. Not your typical musical. I mean, it was just, kind of rough. But as the story went on, I was like, wow, this is really interesting. Like, I couldn't turn away from the TV. I mean, to me, it was just fascinating. It was something like that which I had never seen before. I mean, can you compare it to any movie you've seen?
Yes.
What?
A Family Guy cutaway gag.
What?
That's what I would compare it to.
Call those manatee jokes in the South Park world.
Right. That's what I...
Could you compare it to any other film that you've seen, or any other musical or drama that you've seen?
Like Plan 9 from Outer Space, I would compare it to on quality grounds.
Okay, you hated the movie. I get that. But, all right, let me continue. So, I found the characters really interesting. The story, the music. I grew to really enjoy the music. At first, I didn't really care for it. I'm like, wow, what is this? The ending, I really enjoyed the ending, which, as you guys know, so many films, like, the ending will just ruin the entire film for me. I'm really picky about endings. I mean, was it flawed? Yeah, it wasn't perfect, but I think it was meant to be made that way.
Actually, I was very much touched by the "You Smell Like My Father" song that was in Spanish, so I had to read it. But I really like that song. And
I really like that song.
Well, that was really stupid.
Why?
Well,
He would, she would smell like his father.
actually, it's not because that's not how hormone treatment works. But
Okay. So you're a music theorist?
He knows that as well.
you remember like the songs were trash, the performances was trash. Like Selena Gomez said that she didn't know how to like speak Spanish or good Spanish or something like that. I read that she said that, and it made total sense because her whole performance, she looks like a deer in the headlights.
Leave Selena alone.
She's trash actress. She's
Zoe Saldana, that was not a good performance.
no, not at all.
What?
No, not even in the slightest.
Oh.
She's gonna win.
And the cinematography looks like trash. The music is trash. It was all just garbage. It was a garbage movie from a technical level, and so like technically it's trash. But so I said I'm like, okay, well, if it's not the technical aspects that are making this good, it's got to be the identity politics stuff, right? Like the main actor being transgender or whatever. Yeah. So like maybe that's what people are attracted here to this. Like this is what's attracting people. This is the identity politics. But I look it up and I'm like, and it's like, no, not even that. Like GLAAD is some like LGBT advocacy nonprofit or something like that condemned the movie for its portrait of transgender people. It said it was a horrible portrait of transgender people. So these advocacy groups don't even think that is a good portrait.
No, that's objectively not true based on what they do for the back half of the movie of trying to find people that have gone missing.
Okay, why was it condemned on identity for the LGBT advocacy groups? Why was it condemned as being a horrible portrayal of trans people in your minds?
Why did other people who are part of a group I'm not part of make a condemnation of a movie that I am neither going to condemn nor venerate?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going.
And it was an actual trans actress playing the role. So I mean,
I know. That's what made it so terrible. Like the whole movie is just this constant reminder to this trans person of like their former identity. They don't want to be recognized as their former identity. I wouldn't imagine. Like the whole idea is that their biological identity, their former identity, whatever, is not the one they identify with. So, the whole movie plays like you got kids that are like, oh, you smell like my dad, and Selena Gomez is like, and then the person is getting jealous of Selena Gomez's new boyfriend, and it's just constant. The whole film is just constant reminders of the former identity. I can't imagine that is what trans people view as empowering.
You've given me a good one. Okay, so conservatives, right? This is a movie for conservatives because this person goes through this transformation in their life, and all they can think about is getting back with their family and trying to bring their family together. What's more conservative than that?
Okay, I don't know how that refutes anything.
Because
that
it brings her movie, it brings her kids to her.
she still loved her kids and she couldn't let that go. She wasn't really jealous because Selena Gomez's character was with this guy. Because this guy is a piece of shit. That's why. And she was concerned about her kids and she didn't want to lose her kids. And so she kind of lost it. And that's when all hell broke loose. That's what that was about. She wasn't jealous. She was in love with the other woman.
You haven't refuted any of the points I've made about the transgender presentation. Maybe you guys are.
You said it was a bad presentation of trans people. I said generally in society, people think it is good when you try to stay with your family and keep your family together. So I'm not a member of the transgender community, and I'm not going to make any comment on. But as a father, I went, oh, there's another parent trying to do what's best for their kids. That's great.
Yeah, she just didn't want to lose her kids. Like, I felt for her. I really did. I mean, no, was it okay that she had the boyfriend beat up and all of that? No, of course not.
I didn't feel for her at all. One, because she starts out as a literal drug cartel leader, which I'm not sure how I'm supposed to sympathize with that in any way. I don't. And then throughout the film, she does have she has the boyfriend beat up or whatever. That's not sympathetic. So it's not even a sympathetic character. It's a horrible portrayal.
She wanted to change into the person
But
that
she
always
didn't.
wanted to be.
She beat up the guy or had the guy beat up.
Yeah, I'm saying that wasn't okay and that was a mistake, and she
But
did
so where's the pathos? There's no arc.
beings.
There's not.
We're not perfect. Everything isn't black and white.
Yeah, I'm not perfect. I don't send people to beat up other people.
But if you could, would you?
No, I could. I have plenty of people that I could send to beat up.
If you were a father and you felt like you were going to lose your children, it was just like a reaction, is what it was.
No, it wasn't.
You aren't a father. You don't understand what it, you don't.
No, you don't. There needs to be a redemption arc for the fact that she was a drug dealer for however long, doing, endless amounts of bad things. And there is no redemption arc for that.
Wasn't the redemption
No.
arc her using her vast wealth to try and help other people who were...
Exactly, a missing person.
No, it wasn't.
Why not?
Because that's all of what Zoe Saldana's character is like doing in the second half of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I had a problem with the story overall wasn't even good. Like somehow it managed to be both convoluted and contrived, which I didn't even know was possible to do, but evidently they did it. And it is offensive in that it suggests or seems to suggest at times that the only reason she wanted to get this sex change was to get out of the drug business, it was a means of getting out of the drug business. So she's exploiting these sex changes, exploiting the transgenderism, you will, as like an opportunistic thing to get out of this world, which is not why people transition, as far as I know.
Do you think that's what
I think she expressed
I don't.
a lot how from like her entire life she felt that that's who she was. It wasn't about getting away from the drug cartel. That was just a part of
That's
it.
what they implied in certain lines.
Well, wasn't that because it was very dangerous for her to leave the life she was in to go pursue her new life? I mean, we live, in a pretty nice place, the United States of America. People can be trans and not face too much. I mean, they're still facing a lot, but like drug cartels aren't necessarily known for being super progressive, right? So maybe that factors into it more than I hear Glad's point.
Right, but you see how that's opportunistic, right? Because it presents something as it presents it as an opportunistic thing, like, oh, I can change, if I change my gender, I can get out of this and nobody will recognize me, kind of thing.
I didn't feel that. I didn't feel that at all. I felt that that's just something that she always wanted. And then starting this new life as this person who she always thought she was and wanted to be, that was just another piece of it. It wasn't like she was doing that
But
that
the story made it opportunistic. Okay, but the story arc is what makes it opportunistic. With the character outright says it's opportunistic or not is secondary to the fact that the film's literal story is making it appear opportunistic. It's because that's what happens in the story. She's part of this she's a drug cartel leader, and then all of a sudden she decides she wants to pursue this sex change operation, simultaneously, wanting to get out of the drug cartel business, right? Presumably, this is a point where she wants to get out of the drug cartel business, and is just coincidence that at the same time now all of a sudden she's getting serious about pursuing the sex change. Like the story dictates that it's an opportunistic means of getting out. Just the story itself.
I didn't see it like that, but
Chris Rock had a joke on SNL, which I know you don't watch, that was something to the effect of, oh man, so terrible what happened to the United Healthcare CEO, but sometimes people die in the drug game. So it makes me kind of wonder when watching Emilia Perez, which is about a drug cartel. I think Brian Thompson got to see Emilia Perez before the end.
I don't even understand what that has to do with what we're talking about.
Because of the drugs. You're saying that the reason that Emilia decides to go through with this augmentation to her body is because it would help her get out of her drug dealing past, correct?
I'm saying the story presents transgenderism as an opportunistic means of doing something like that.
That's the argument Glad made when I read about this.
Yeah.
And again, it's not for me to say either way. Was I entertained? I was very much entertained when I watched this movie, which I only watched because the Golden Globes gave it 4 Golden Globes, and then, hey, this might be nominated for a lot of Oscars. And it was nominated for 13 Oscars, which is like behind only movies that have been nominated for 14 Oscars. So
No, like I was honestly bursting out laughing. If you had told me this was a comedy, I would have believed you. It would have been a more successful movie. But it's like the song about the penis to vagina is so stupid. I thought it was a comedy.
well, it was supposed to be funny,
No,
entertaining. Yes, it was. A little piece was.
the theatrical
Little-
presentation of it,
There-
yeah.
Yes, there's little pieces of this film that are lighthearted, which is good, which I enjoyed
No.
because
It was tonally disjointed. I enjoy that. I'm not sure most people do. Clearly, you did not.
No, totally disjointed is fine. When
Name a tonally disjointed movie you enjoy.
Cabin in the Woods.
Okay, I would say that that's all of a piece of satire, but okay. This might be satire for all I know.
Twin Peaks.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's discordant pieces to a lot of David Lynch's works. Rest in peace. I'm not going to. There's not a movie we've talked about I would say something negative about, to be quite honest.
No, I mean, I didn't feel for any of the characters. Zoe Saldana's performance was just flat and boring. Wasn't good at all. As Selena Gomez, like, it wasn't surprising at all to find out that Selena Gomez didn't know what she was doing or saying or whatever. Her Spanish was bad because she looks that way throughout the entire film. She looks like she doesn't know what she's doing. And so all the performances it was just horrible.
She does use Mexican colloquialisms that she doesn't intonate correctly. I have been told by people who are familiar with.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a very good Spanish speaker. I'm not going to criticize somebody else's Spanish speaking. I've watched every season of Only Murders in the Building. I think Selena Gomez is a very specific and adorable performer.
All right. Well, whatever. We're gonna have to leave it there because it's going on for too long. So, anyway, I'll wrap it up here, I guess. Guys, definitely check out Kyle's work. Like the clip you saw at the beginning of this with the present. Very good film, and certainly keep an eye out for upcoming work of his. And we will see you on the next episode of Film Network Podcast.